Have you ever looked back on the school project you have worked on and found that most of your work was done right before the final deadline? You could almost say that 80% of the work was done in 20% of the time that was given to you. Another example could be that many businesses find that 20% of their products accounts for 80% of their profits. I think you got the message. This concept is better known as the 80-20 principle. 80% of the work results are produced by 20% of the work efforts. By now you're probably thinking, but bro listens, this is all well and good, but how can I apply the 80-20 principle to help my work process and increase my productivity in my everyday life? Well, I'm glad you asked, because think about this for a second. If you can achieve 80% of the results with just 20% of the effort you put in, that means that the 80% of your efforts is inefficient. So what if you could remove this time spent on inefficient stuff and replace it with things you do during the efficient 20%? You would be looking at multiplying your work results. Let's use the school project again as an example. Start by identifying and analyzing your work process to find out which parts are inefficient and write that down. You might find that, for example, in the first phases of a project, you waste time by overthinking problems, procrastinating the project itself because everything seems overwhelming and video games just seems more appealing at the time. Whatever your reasons might be, by identifying what is inefficient, rearranging your process to avoid them, and furthermore, implementing new strategies like changing their environment to your advantage by removing the options of gaming and getting started right away, you can greatly increase your productivity. So let's say you're running a business and want to increase your profits. We're going to take a look at how you can apply the 80-20 principle to make this happen. There are multiple ways you can apply this, but we're going to be focusing on optimizing the product range of your business. First, you want to rank all your products by profit and sales. And you'll probably find that while the top products only account for 20% of the sales, they generate 80% of the profits. The author conducted a study on companies that produce electronics and found that the top 3 products accounted for 20% of the total sales but brought in a whopping 52% of total profits. Now that's an interesting fact. So when you have identified your top products, it's time to prioritize these products and focus your time and energy on selling more of them. Want to increase your productivity by 25%? You're probably already familiar with the concept of time management, which is often talked about these days. The basic idea is to help you achieve more in less time, and this technique is proven to work. It increases your productivity by around 15 to 25%. First step is to categorize your daily activities according to priority. This is usually where most people fail. They don't even know what their most important task is, so they end up making 60 to 70% of their to-do list as high priority, which is obviously not the case. For contrast, the author discovered in his job at a consulting firm that the firm was more successful than others, but they didn't put in more effort than the competition. Consultants will normally try to solve a whole lot of issues for their clients, resulting in only trivial work, with clients being responsible for implementations of any recommendations. In comparison, the author's firm focused on the most important 20% of their clients' issues. They would end up saving time and use that time to support their clients in implementing recommendations rather than relying on them. This plan of attack helped them outmatch their competition and increase their clients' profits and by extension, their own. People tend to define their quality of life by their overall happiness. So why do so many people spend a lot of their time doing things that makes them unhappy? For example, a lot of people have jobs that makes them miserable. So what is the antidote to fix this issue, you might ask? Alright, I want you to find a notepad and then ask yourself this. Which 20% of your life provides you with the 80% of your happiness? And then the other way around, and then write that down. Okay, good. Once you have defined the 80% of your life that creates little to none happiness, it is time to take action. And that is to simply spend less time doing those things. Let's use the job situation as an example again. If your job makes you unhappy, then try to think of ways to change that. Things you could do would be Look at other jobs that might seem interesting to you. Decrease your working hours if possible. Whatever you end up deciding to do, you should not make yourself work at a job that makes you unhappy for the rest of your life. When you cut down on the things that makes you unhappy, you will find that you'll have more time and energy to spend on the things that makes you happy. And lastly, think about 20% of activities in your life that makes up 80% of your happiness, and try to take action on finding ways to spend more time on that. You will for sure increase your happiness in your life if you do. The key point of this book summary is the 80-20 principle applies to almost any area of life. It is usually 20% of the effort that makes up 80% of the results. With that in mind, almost 80% of efforts are not spent efficiently. So try focus on the 20% that is producing the most results. You'll see a massive boost in your productivity. Keep in mind that this simple concept can be applied to a range of things in life, from business to friends and the quality of your life.